Welcome to the Pulse with Peter B. I'm your host, Peter Biancamano. Let's get you to the pulse on everything you need to know. And again, I'm excited, and not because of the color that she's wearing next to me. It's because it is March, and it is her first time on the show this year. And that is, of course, our Places Insider, Krista Stucchio of #FoodPick. Where have you been?
I don't know. Where have I been? I don't know how we're already in March. I don't understand how that happens.
Time flies.
Time really does fly.
Exactly.
The last time I was here, I was eating pizza with my gal pals.
That's right, with Daria and Megan. I mean, over at Madison Pizza Lab, our good friend Dave Carney.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been back since?
I haven't.
Oh my God.
See, this is what I'm saying. I've been
Dave,
all over the place. I don't know
love
what.
you, but
no, you
apparently-
know what? You know what? You know where I've been?
Where have you
the
been?
places I'm about to tell you about.
Oh, amen.
There we go. With
Look
my
at that.
segue.
I was going to say, she's been on the show so much that she even knows how to segue properly. I absolutely love it.
I learned from the best.
Oh, well, thank you.
I'm being nice to you.
You're being real. It's because I said the pink looks good on you.
Yeah, it's
It
fun
does.
color. It's fun color.
It is a fun color. It absolutely is. All right, Krista, let's talk about it, because
talk about it.
you haven't been here as we've beat up a dead horse on now in the last few months. What type of restaurants have you tried in and out of Hoboken? And they don't have to be new restaurants, so just go for it.
Yeah. So the first one I want to talk about, and I want to ask you actually, have you ever been to Sushi by Boo?
Is it Boo or Bow?
So I don't exactly know, but most people I've heard say it have said Boo.
Okay.
Maybe it's Bow. Someone correct me. I'm sorry. I'm doing my best out here.
So Daria spoke about it in an earlier segment earlier this year that it's opening up. Now talk to me about the omakase. Does omakase run it? Because I've been to an omakase in Sheepshead Bay, Brooklyn.
Okay.
And I remember it was fantastic. So is it like the same type of company or what is it?
Yeah. So they have a lot of locations right now. And I never made it to the Jersey City location. I don't know why. It was just one of those things that just didn't happen. And now they're in Hoboken.
Right.
So they opened in the W Hotel.
Fancy.
Oh yeah, so fancy. Literally, like if you're in the area, have a little staycation. Get yourself some omakase and stay at the hotel. But yeah, so I went, when they first opened, and it's this tiny little area, honestly, probably as big as where we are right now. And
I'm humbled because our studio's not that big.
It's not, but this place is a vibe. Like they made it, it's decked out in like neon. They've got, 90s, early 2000s music bumping in there. The cocktails are just fun and really, really good. And the omakase experience is $60. That's it for 12 courses.
I paid $110 in Brooklyn.
Yeah. And this is
very expensive date.
I'm gonna give my friend Hannah, who's been on the show,
Talk Dirty to Your Food.
I'm gonna give her a
love
shout
you,
out.
Hannah.
She is like an omakase fanatic. She's been to so many omakase experiences, and for the price of Sushi by Boo, like it's up there. She's been to some pretty pricey experiences, just like you in New York and Brooklyn. So.
I'm telling you, it's unbelievable. And just for the folks at home, the menu is very limited from what I understand.
Yeah.
It only has like these courses. I think there's like a 15 course,
Yeah.
a 13, and of course, here I am thinking I'm a big Italian guy. I'm thinking, oh wow, 12 courses. This is going to be a lot of food. A course is a piece of sushi.
It's a piece, and they make it right in front of you. It's very
cool.
cool. They bring out the torch. I actually used the torch when I was there. They let me use it, which was
That was cool.
Yeah, I don't know why they let me hold fire, but that happened. So it was so fun. The whole staff was just very inviting. It was a great experience all
That's
around.
awesome. And you know what? We wish that location lots of luck because, as you know, there's a revolving door of restaurants in the W Hotel, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But hopefully this works.
Totally.
So was there a specific cocktail that you liked there?
They had a special that night. I don't remember what it was called. It was something with tequila. I was on a tequila vibe that night.
There you go. I like that. Any place else that you've been to?
Yeah, so I'm gonna continue riding the sushi train.
That's all right.
So as you guys know, I'm a food blogger. So sometimes I'm invited places, and actually Kura Sushi in Jersey City invited me in, and that was a crazy experience. I don't know if anyone has ever heard of basically a conveyor belt sushi.
I heard about this. Yes.
So
yeah.
There's really not a lot of like human interaction when you go there. There's, I guess they call it an express belt, not like a conveyor belt, but sushi is just rolling around all around you, and you can just pull a plate right off. And basically you're charged by the plate. Everything's the same price, and so many different types of sushi.
Wow. So how do they know? I guess if they see a plate in front of you, they charge.
So you have this I guess it's a trash can. It's like a disposable. You can put all your plates in there. So it counts the plates. After you take them, you dispose of them. Yeah.
Oh, technology.
Crazy. There was
Technologically savvy as
yeah,
well.
and there was a robot that delivered our drinks. So yeah, it was like all of a
Did
sudden.
the robot make the drink?
I don't think so. His name was Kirby.
The robot.
Kirby the robot. Okay. Yeah, he brought us drinks. So
I thought it was the bartender.
It was just really fun. Like it was. There was a lot to look at, a lot to do. I was very overwhelmed with what to pull off the shelf because you want everything. You can order extra items like ramen and everything, flying down the. It's really a wild experience.
Is it like flying or is it like
when
2-3 miles an hour?
That yes, but like everything that's coming around is very slow.
But
when you order a specific item like ramen, it actually shoots down pretty fast and just stops immediately at your table. So
don't get burned. Anywhere else that you've been to?
So my third one, I don't know how much time we have. I hope
you can go all day.
I know. I've got spots. So I went to the Hutton, actually, in Jersey City Heights.
I heard about that.
Yeah, have you ever been?
I have not.
Okay.
It's not a hotel, though, right?
No.
Because there is a Hutton Hotel, but I think it's in Nashville. Different show.
Okay.
Exactly.
So my friends got me to go there. It's in the Heights, and it's a really cool location. There's an indoor area, obviously, but then they have this like screened in heated patio area that like is kind of built around this giant tree. It's really it's cute out there. It's a brunch vibe. It's fun. I think there was like a family birthday party going on, so it was really good for friends, family. And the most incredible thing that I had there was this fried chicken naan sandwich. It was. I know we're gonna flash a picture on screen right now.
Our production assistant Skylar is looking for it right now on her phone. Let me tell. And her family's in Jersey City too, so you keep giving her all these Jersey City.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Exactly.
Yeah. So when this thing came out, it was. Thank goodness, because we were trying a bunch of things. So I split it with a friend, and like that was so necessary. Right. You know me, I can eat. I can eat.
Well,
that was huge. It comes
your
with,
last
like,
name is Stucchio,
corn.
so it ends in a vowel.
Yeah. But it's a massive piece of fried chicken, street corn. There's some kind of cheese sauce on it. I believe arugula. It was amazing. Get a side salad, get fries with that. So that was like the most epic thing that I think I tried there.
Epic, she says. I absolutely love it. There
was like a sweet and tangy cauliflower that we had, and a bourbon French toast of some sort that came with like espresso gelato and I believe some nuts. Oh yeah, I just really wanted the ice cream because I'm a sucker for coffee espresso.
Well, it's one thing that you're drinking. Then when they infuse your food with alcohol, it's even better.
I know. I was like, okay, I'm overdoing it today, but it's fine. It's brunch. It's a special occasion.
Amen. So we have about a minute left. Is there anything that you haven't tried that you might be looking forward to trying in the near future? I know that's a tough question for a foodie, right?
No, you know what? I have a few, but I feel like I want to save it for the next segment.
Oh.
But I will say, I'll leave you with this because I feel like people are going to be upset about it. And you already know because we were just talking about this. Last night, well, I guess when we air this, it won't be last night, but my first time at Dino and Harry's.
Okay.
I've lived here for 7 years, guys.
And her first time.
I'm embarrassed. I'm very embarrassed.
Which is right around the corner from our studio here.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Yeah.
So you could have just slept in the studio last night.
I should have.
All right, but we're going to talk about that on a future segment.
We will. We sure will.
Really quickly, should I wear this outfit to any of these restaurants?
No.
Right,
absolutely.
That's what I thought.
I wouldn't.
There you go. That's why I'm on camera tonight and not eating. Krista Stucchio of #FoodPick. It's so good to see you again.
So good to see you.
And folks, she will be back next week, I promise. So stay tuned to our social media platforms and see what she's going to be discussing. We'll see you then.
See you then.
All right, folks. We will be right back.
Welcome to Hudson River Care Counseling. Hello, I'm Dr. Pam Pater-Ennis, the CEO and founder of Hudson River Care Counseling with over 30 years of clinical social work experience in therapy. We are a progressive counseling and coaching practice with a diverse team that brings a holistic approach to clients. We offer support both in person and through digital platforms such as telehealth. Consider us a safe haven that you can trust with care for your mental health needs. Visit our website to set up a consultation today.
Peter Biancamano, your hostess with the mostest of the Pulse with Peter B. Folks, don't forget to go on our Facebook and our Instagram pages by searching The Pulse with Peter B. and like and follow us on each of those platforms. We're constantly updating those pages with previews of each week's segments and cool stories. Also, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to our email address at thepulsewithpeterb@gmail.com.
Welcome back. I'm your host with the most, Josh Sotomayor Einstein, and I am so glad, I'm honored that we have been visited once again by the wonderful radio show host and founder of Common Sense Club, or the Common Sense Club, Bill Spadea. How you doing?
Thanks, Josh. Doing great. Thanks for having me back.
Oh, I'm so glad. And you know what? You saved me from doing a segment with the show host, Peter Biancamano, and I just, I could not be more grateful.
I am here to help. That's what I do.
So tell us what is going on in the Common Sense Club, what's going on in New Jersey, what's going on in your world?
So a lot. There's a lot. Glad you asked. New Jersey is in a state of chaos when it comes to the budget, when it comes to our debt, when it comes to the function of government. There was a report out. I spoke to an organization. I'm making my way around the state. We've been to just about every county now over the past 8 months, doing 2 and 3 events sometimes on each weekday and 6 or 7 on the weekends. And the reason is that we're taking the message of common sense and saying we've got to get this to people face to face in their small businesses, in their living rooms, and let people know that there is hope. I spoke earlier this week to a group of contractors and construction companies, folks that do a lot of work building our roads and fixing our bridges, talked about the Federal Highway Administration came out with a report that said there are now 482 bridges, 482 in the state of New Jersey that are rated poor to failing, which means at any moment you could have another situation like we had in Minnesota about 8 years ago, and most recently, and it did not get a ton of traction in the press, but Joe Biden was talking about his infrastructure bill, goes out to Pennsylvania, a mile away, a bridge collapses. And the challenge is that the Democrats use that to raise taxes, bring in more money, but they don't actually get the infrastructure work done.
No, it doesn't get
right?
fixed.
They don't do it.
Nothing gets fixed.
So Pennsylvania, which is a larger state but a smaller budget, they managed to figure out how to fix 350 bridges over the course of the next 24 months. They're doing it with a lot of prefab materials. A lot of Jersey workers are going to be heading across the Delaware to Pennsylvania to fix their bridges. In New Jersey, you go back 2 years. In the last 2 years, we have fixed a grand total of somewhere between 13 and 16. Absolutely no excuse for that. So commuters, I don't think, understand yet that there are roadways that are dangerous in this state. Here's the challenge. The budget is now $51 billion. So Governor Murphy and the Democrats, $51 billion. The last year Chris Christie was in office, 8 years of Chris Christie, top budget $35 billion. So we are now up
$16 billion.
16. Think about that dramatic number. I mean, you're talking about a more than 40% increase in the budget. However, what are they doing with the money?
Well, I don't think
What are they doing with it?
I don't think anyone
Right.
there in TV land, internet thinks their quality of life has gotten 40% better.
So what I said to this group of contractors, both union, non-union, everybody out there, I said, look, we've got to put people back to work. We've got to create tax revenue for the state. But most importantly, we've got to keep the state safe. And there are hundreds of other issues out there. But just on this one particular issue, there is no reason why we can't fix all 482 bridges in the course of 3 years. At the most, 4 years, just given what other states are doing. Somehow, Governor Ron DeSantis and the Florida government was able to repair and rebuild the bridge to Sanibel Island in a few weeks. So you're telling me they figured it out in Florida, they figured it out in Pennsylvania, we didn't figure it out here. The reason? Bureaucratic delays, too many lawyers, too many rules and regulations that hold back. I think the state of New Jersey needs to declare a state of emergency when it comes to our transportation infrastructure and get these bridges worked on. There is a $6 billion number that was put into the recommendations from the Department of Transportation as to what we need to do to fix all the roads in Jersey. Now, I think that number is probably a little bit inflated, but they keep coming back and saying, well, we don't have the money. I'm like, well, you just increased the budget $16 billion over the last guy. You found the money for your pet projects. You're not finding it for the people of this state.
Well, they have the money to turn education for elementary school kids from normal education to telling the kids that they can pick whatever bathroom that they feel like on that day, to and having curriculum that sexualizes children to, instead of actual, bread and butter concrete issues.
Yeah. Well, take one issue, for example, immigration. You had the last Republican nominee talking about giving driver's licenses to illegals, which was a flip-flop, as I understand. But either way, totally disconnected from the problem. So even some Republicans, like the last guy, are saying things like, well, we can't solve the problem, so let's just accommodate around the edges. That makes zero sense. First of all, we have a state government that does not cooperate with the federal government on legal detainer orders. A detainer order comes from a federal judge. An illegal immigrant who's accused of a crime gets picked up. In New Jersey, no cooperation. Second thing, we have a bail reform structure put in place where you've got domestic violence abusers turned around in hours. So the challenge is, look at our abortion laws. And, people, it's an uncomfortable subject. They don't want to talk about it. And I'm like, right. But most people that I talk to say, wow, abortion up to birth is really radical. And 81% of people in this country don't agree with abortion up to birth. So they want some restrictions. The challenge in New Jersey is you could come here illegally, get an abortion, underage, 15, 16 years old, no one's going to check. And then you're released right back out. So we're doing harm to our communities and to people. And by not finding out who's here legally and who's here illegally, we have an enormous problem, a burden on the taxpayers, a burden on our infrastructure. So illegal immigration, if the federal government's not going to deal with it, we need to deal with it here in New Jersey.
Oh, yeah. And listen, something you're talking about before when you're talking about criminal justice reform, I think everybody, right, left, and center, understands that we do need to have criminal justice reform. Yeah. President Trump was applauded, and applauded rather by people that you wouldn't think would ever applaud anything he did when he pushed the First Step Act. But the way that they've done it in New Jersey and in other crazy states like New York is just, it's made a revolving door of criminals that end up preying on lower income and urban communities. Right. And that's not okay, because no one should have to live like that.
Josh, you make a great point. It's the very communities that these laws are intended to help that get harmed the most. You look at Patterson, look at Trenton, look at Newark, communities that are being harmed. I mean, not just in the element of crime and gangs and drugs and guns, but look at the issue we have with clean drinking water. The disaster in Ohio notwithstanding, we have a situation with the waterworks in Trenton, a situation with the waterworks in Newark, where it may or may not be safe, depending on what building you're in, to drink the water. No investment in infrastructure on that. Instead, the governor comes out and calls for all electric vehicles by 2035. And then he's going to spend who knows how many hundreds of millions to build these 1,000-foot monstrosities off the coast of New Jersey. We've already seen 9 whales wash up dead on the shores of the Jersey shores on our beaches. And when you look at that, you say, well, what's the science behind the claims that you're making? They have zero backup at all. Energy costs are going to skyrocket. We need to scrap the wind farms immediately. We need to scrap the energy master plan, which will have New Jersey taxpayers subsidizing solar farms in other states, allegedly to keep our costs down. But we all know if you really want to keep our costs down, allow the free flow of abundant, cheap, clean natural gas. 75% of the homes in the state are using that for some sort of fuel. 75%.
Anything that Governor Murphy and the dingbats in Trenton can do to raise our cost of living while virtue signaling at the same time, they support. They don't care if trying to push out traditional vehicles increases the cost that people have to pay by 2 or 3 times. But we only have a little bit less than a minute left. I know that you have started a new show, and I was wondering in like 30 seconds if you could just tell everyone about that.
2 quick things. We've got our organization, Common Sense Club. We're now at 100,000 members across the state, some out of state, but all supporting this cause of bringing common sense to New Jersey. So to that end, I've got the morning show 6 to 10 on New Jersey 101.5 every weekday. We launched an afternoon show streaming on wherever you get your podcast. You can download it at the wherever you get your podcast. You can watch us live on Rumble. My website is billspadea.com. Every Thursday, live, we take calls. I modeled it after the live radio show. I've got a studio in beautiful Monmouth County, Red Bank, thanks to our friends at Epic Financial, and it is fantastic. I do an hour. We take calls. Had Ben Carson on 2 weeks ago. We had Gordon
really cool.
Chang on. So there's a lot happening. We're getting a lot of attention for it. And the reason people are hungry for common sense, we got to fix this place, and we can do it.
Well, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Peter Biancamano back with you. Don't forget to watch us on cable access every Sunday and Monday at 9 a.m. Optimum Channel 18, Files Channel 46, and Comcast Channel 190. Also on Sunday mornings at 9:30 a.m., you can watch our show on our YouTube channel, and you can also binge watch all of our old shows. Who doesn't want to keep watching The Pulse with Peter B? We'll see you there. Welcome back to The Pulse with Peter B. Peter Biancamano, back in the host chair and back at the offices of Hudson River Care Counseling, located at 310 Cedar Lane in Teaneck, New Jersey, and 63A 8th Street in the beautiful city of Hoboken, New Jersey. And the past few times that we've been here, it's really been a family affair, and we're going to continue that. Although the person to my right does look a little familiar because she was on a previous segment here at HRCC, and that, of course, is Rebecca Ennis-Paez. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
Exactly, and of course, that last name sounds familiar because, of course, it's Dr. Pam's daughter. We had your sister on the last segment, or last month, I should say, and she killed it. So you got big shoes to fill.
Oh, wow.
I'm just kidding around.
I think I have big shoes to fill anyway.
I love it. And of course, we're joined by your husband, and this is an honor for the Pulse because we've never had an active military person on the show. So thank you so much for your service, Sergeant Marco Paez. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. And Marco, why don't we start with you, Sergeant, I should say. Give me an order if I'm messing up any names. And explain your role in the military right now.
Well, I was active duty and now I'm in the reserves. I've been in the military since the Iraqi Freedom 2001 war. I've been in 13 years, going 14 years now. I had a break in service. I'm currently in 2nd 113 in Riverdale, New Jersey. I was prior Marines, active duty. Now I'm in the reserves. I also deployed with the Army in 2019 at Djibouti, Somalia.
So that's about 20 years of service, correct?
14 is going to be
14.
14. I got
Wow.
6 years left.
I'm not good at math. My apologies. And I'm going to say this probably another 17 times, but thank you so much for your service. It's an honor having you on. It really is. Rebecca, so, you are married to a distinguished military man. And one of the things that a lot of military families face when soldiers come home is almost post-traumatic stress. Regarding their service overseas or wherever their service was. Can you just explain what Hudson River Care Counseling does, or is going to do, I should say, in terms of assisting some of these military families?
Sure. So, post-traumatic stress disorder is prolonged trauma. And I won't necessarily bore you with the DSM-5 diagnostic,
You can bore me all you want.
But it's basically trauma that lasts longer than a year from trauma. And you can get it outside of military service, but in the United States, we most know it, particularly from war, because that's where people have learned the term. And it is pretty traumatic. One thing I'm a social work student, so one thing I've learned in my studies is many of the soldiers go in to service, especially enlisted men and women, already having trauma from whether it be boot camp or from family circumstances. Now you combine that with wartime. Now you have multiple traumas, and now you can have trauma without having PTSD,
Of course.
but when you have a compound trauma, very often it's going to become PTSD. So these men and women come back not knowing how to readjust to civilian life. And if they have families at home, especially children, that's very complex. It's very complex for them to learn how to rejoin civilian life. It's also very challenging for the spouse and the children as well. Unbeknownst to us, I mean, you don't know until you experience it. And there are some support groups but it's really a support group. It's not therapeutic support groups. And so that's what our goal here is. We do see military patients on an individual basis. And they may not even come in necessarily for military issues necessarily at first, but like one of my patients, he actually came in for Alzheimer's support, and being a vet and having that common, he was Army too, and during NOM, and then when I was able to pull out that, kind of connect with him that my husband is Army, then that was an instant connection for him. So, you may not always be dealing directly with Army or Marine trauma necessarily, but having that experience can help you in other avenues with these men and women. But yeah, we do see men and women on a regular basis in individual therapy. And then in the fall, we'll be having a military family support group, but therapeutic support group. And I stress that word because there's just not enough of them.
No, and I'm sure you both heard this story so many times about how veterans are not taken care of, obviously, after they finish their service. And Hudson River Care Counseling is trying to give a place for them to be taken care of. I'm going to just head over to Marco now, Sergeant. Is there, you've served with many of your brothers and sisters, and I'm sure you have stories close to home regarding people who came back looking for the type of therapy services. Yeah, without obviously getting into any names or anything like that, I wonder if there's a story you could share with the audience regarding a person who came back and probably needed the help that Hudson River Care Counseling is going to provide.
Well, personally, I suffered through the causes of deployments. My wife did too. When I was deployed, I couldn't, my baby was born, I couldn't get back to them on time. I was denied access to it, because certain military procedures had to be followed. But I personally, through the chaos of war, it's hard to get, when you come back, it's hard to integrate civilian life sometimes, Yeah, the VA's out there, the VA, but we need more than that. We need more, like therapeutically, like just instead of just giving you medication or that's, pretty much that, but they are helping. The VA does help you. Also, there's like other avenues, like Hudson River Counseling,
Yeah. And, sorry.
I'm sorry. There's a lot of outsourcers out there. You just gotta look for them. If you're not, there's a lot of vets that come back and they're homeless,
Yeah, and that's where social workers come in. That's one, but outside of clinical here, that's where social workers come in, is to help his or her family and that soldier to locate those programs. And that's one of our jobs as a social worker, to look for. It's not just therapy, it's looking for services. And
you said that the program is going to start in the fall here at Hudson River Care Counseling.
Fall 2023. September.
September, just a few months. It can't come soon enough, in my opinion.
Exactly.
We are, running out of time, but it's important to know that just in the family alone here at Hudson River Care Counseling, they have their own stories that can probably relate to some stories at home. So I really appreciate both of you coming on and really explaining your story. Thank you for your service again. Sergeant Marco Paez, of course, Rebecca Ennis-Paez, and we will be back hopefully in the fall and, discuss more about the program launching from military families, which is probably going to be one of the most important programs here at Hudson River Care Counseling.
Looking forward to it.
All right, guys. Thank you so much again. Really appreciate it. All right, folks. Join us next week for The Pulse on everything you need to know. I'm Peter Biancamano. I hope you have a great week, everybody.